So are you thinking about buying real estate on the South Shore of Boston? Maybe you're relocating from out of state, or maybe you're a local, but you just haven't been in the real estate market in a while, and now you're thinking about moving. Well, you've come to the right video. I am in this market every single day, and it actually shocks me about how much confusion I'm met with from both buyers and sellers about the market today. It is a really interesting time, no pun intended, but the interest rates are finally coming down even just a smidge, and people just don't know how to react. Instead of telling you how to react, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's been happening in the real market. Here's what's been going on with my clients and others that I hear about from other agents around the area. The idea here is to let you know exactly what to expect when you're thinking about buying real estate on the South Shore. The most important thing I always say is educate, educate, educate. And so I hope you enjoy. Hey, I'm Katie. I'm a Massachusetts real estate agent, and this channel is all about helping you with your move to the South Shore of Boston. Subscribe if you haven't. And if you're even thinking about relocating to the Boston area, do not hesitate to just reach out. So without further ado, let me jump into what's going on in this suburban Boston market. Okay, so let me define the terms of what I call an average house here. Okay, so let's be clear. Right now, when I talk about the average house, I'm only talking about the South Shore of Boston. And if you know the Boston market at all, you really have to get hyper local when you talk about trends. So let's get even more clear. When I'm talking about the average house in this video, I'm going to be talking about a 3-bedroom, a 1.5 to 2 bath, a nice backyard, finished basement, maybe, maybe not, but opportunity to make that finished basement. This is what we are referring to these days as like the average house. This is the house that the buyer in this price point wants. Okay, so when I'm talking about the average house in this video, specifically, I'm talking about a 3 to 4 bedroom house, a 1 to 3 bath house with a really nice backyard, maybe a finished basement, maybe not. But for these purposes, that's kind of the realm I'm going on. So I always refer to these houses as basically the house I dreamed about when I was a kid. So for example, this home in Hingham is going to be priced between 1.3 and 1.5. For reference, today I'm actually going to a few open houses. A lot of South Shore towns will do brokers open houses on Friday mornings, and that way we as brokers get to get a first view so we can immediately get our clients up and ready and onto their open houses over the weekend. Because when I talk about these average houses, if a house is priced right, listed correctly, that means it was listed on Wednesday or Thursday, and like I said, that broker's open is going to be on Friday. If this all comes together over the weekend, they will get a lot of traffic through these houses, and typically these houses in this market right now are asking for a Monday offer deadline. So think about that. You really have very limited time to get in the house, see the house, fall in love with it, and get all your ducks in a row. So one of the things that I work a lot with my clients on before we even go to start seeing houses is I want to make sure they have, as I just said, all their ducks in a row. That means they have already spoken to at least 1 or 2 lenders. I'm happy to recommend them. I have a lot of lenders that I work with, and based on your personality and what you've got going on, I can connect you guys. And they'll come up with what the best plan of action is for you from a price point variable. Also, I love to have my clients write a letter. Let's just think about why you are moving to the South Shore to begin with. Never mind the house yet, but just the reasons that your family is thinking about relocating or just the move in general. For all those reasons, I like you to have your ducks in a row. This weekend, I'm going to see a couple houses. So one of them is located at 72 Scotland Street in Hingham. Now, the thing about Scotland Street is it's right off of Main Street, so it's super conveniently located close to Route 3, the highway, Derby Street, all those places. So in this case, the house itself might appear to be a little bit less in photos or whatever, but you are really getting this amazing neighborhood vibe. So if you're a buyer, I'm sure you've already been to Zillow and seen all the photos. So in this case, these are the type of homes we are looking at and discussing today. But make no mistake, we are still in a seller's market on the South Shore of Massachusetts. Make no mistake, I don't care what your uncle's telling you, I don't care what the NBC Nightly News is telling you. We are talking hyper-local, South Shore of Boston. We are still in that seller's market because I am seeing these deals happen every single day, and here's what's happening. So with this simple strategy, being done by real estate listing agents, these sellers end up with at least 3 strong offers by the end of the weekend. This means that you as the buyer, you need to reduce risk for the seller if you want to get the home that you love. You need to find ways to accommodate them if you want to get the house. Okay, so let's back up a second. This is not like COVID times where you have to overbid hundreds of thousands of dollars and eliminate all of your contingencies and give your firstborn child to the sellers. But having said that, we are still in a time where the seller only needs 1 strong offer. So even if there's 2, you have to be the best. This is really, really important when we start working together. So please understand that the things that I'm asking you for before we even start looking at houses are for your benefit so that I am ready to go and I can, quote, win you this house. So the simple message for you, if you're the buyer, be ready. So you may have heard this in other markets, but it is as true today as it's ever been. So what does being ready mean? So first and foremost, it means understanding your budget realistically. And so what that means is going to a certified lender. Again, I'm happy to make recommendations, but these are the people you have to be super, super honest with. They will come back with a plan for you. They may say you can afford well over what you actually want to spend. That's okay. Then when we get together, we will realistically come up with that budget. So just because you can afford in this market $2 million, I get it. That's not what you want to spend. But at least we know where to start looking because again, we're not paying overprice for a house. We may sometimes pay over ask. Ask is a term that is used in real estate language. It means that's what the seller is asking for people to come in and look at the house at. That does not always relate to what the house is worth to someone. So if we go in at ask, but someone else has been looking for a year and there are emotional circumstances involved, they very well may pay $100,000 over the ask price because that is what it's worth to them. The way we can meet them, we don't always have to get over ask or we don't have to get over ask to win. What we need to do is come to what the sellers need for their deal. So having said that, reducing risk for the seller is the most important. So we want to be open to their close date for one. Also, I want to talk a little bit more about a new law that's just been put into place in Massachusetts, and that is the inspection law. Okay, so let's be clear about this. The law states that every buyer has the right to an inspection. That is very important. It is your right to an inspection. What it doesn't mean is you have the right to renegotiate and tell the seller that they have an awful house. They may already know all of the problems that go into selling their house, and they have taken into consideration those problems when putting their house on the market at the price that they are asking. You cannot come in and say, well, you've got a 20-year-old roof, so in 5 or 10 years, I'm going to have to replace it. So I want you to take $20,000 off the price that I offered you and you accepted. That is not what we're looking for. The inspection being taken off the table is just for the offer phase of the negotiations. So when we go into our offer now, we know that we have the right to an inspection. What was happening in COVID times and even up until a few weeks ago, as buyer's agents, we were being asked to waive the inspection because what was happening is the buyer's agent wasn't educating the buyers and the buyers were coming back in and trying to renegotiate the house. What was happening was the sellers had great offers. They chose your offer because they wanted to work with you. But now you're flipping it upside down and trying to ask them for things that are unreasonable. Having said that, there are things we can ask for when the inspection comes back. And that's what's most important with having a good real estate agent. I'm not saying you have to choose me, but I'm saying I know what goes into making sure the deal gets over the finish line. And that goes with the inspection part. That means that we're going to go through the inspection, have the right inspector who's going to explain to you as a buyer that not every single thing that he points out has to be fixed. What he's doing is just opening the book for you, looking under the hood, so to speak, whatever terminology you want to hear. He is the expert on the house and what goes into houses from the 1800s, the 1950s to the 2000s. Those are very different time periods of when houses were being built and what the code regulations were. So something that was built in the late 1800s, early 1900s may have what are called code violations in today's standards. What that does not mean is the seller has to do anything to fix that. And so as an educated real estate agent, I work with so many inspectors. I go through so many different types of houses. So when we're walking through, I'll probably be pointing out some of these things to you. The inspection report is for your knowledge so that you do have the opportunity to back out of the deal if we get there and the structural integrity of the house is something we didn't know was a problem. If there's some safety issues that we didn't know was a problem, if there is some mechanical stuff that was not visual to our eyes, or the seller didn't know, and we are able then to what we call back out of the deal. We'll get our deposit back. We'll leave on good terms with the seller. We're not trying to blow up a deal. We're just trying to get what the offer we made to work for us. That's it. So if you're thinking about buying real estate on the South Shore of Boston, please give me a call because the devil's in the details and we want to make sure that you are well prepared to win in any situation that you want to win in this market specifically. So yikes, that was a lot of information in a very short period of time. But as you can see, I'm pretty passionate about it. And the reason is because of the experiences I've been going through. This year alone, every single transaction has been so different and so incredibly important in my learning process. And as I tell you, I want you guys to be educated. It's what I do every single day. I educate myself about this market specifically. It's why I've got a list of houses I'm going to see today, not because I have buyers who want these houses specifically, but I want to make sure that I know what the cycle and the rhythm of this market is, because if you guys call me tomorrow, I want to know what's going on. So please just call me. Let's talk about it. Let's go through what those details are, get you ready so that when it's time, we're going to be the first and the best offer to the table. I hope this video was helpful for you. Subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you in the next video.